Ladies, bring the drums
Run
in.
it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time.
What is going on, you guys? It's D&C on the rise. It's your boy DJ Access. Riley's here, or Ecliptics. Now, we got a bigger panel than last time. So why don't we start from here, introduce yourself, give us your age, and that should be good, right? Yeah, we'll do that.
All right, my name is Letty, and I'm 20. I'm Riley, and I'm 21.
I'm Vanessa, I'm 20.
I'm Trinity, I'm 23.
All right. So we'll start with you for the first question. Riley, do you want to throw the first one out there?
All right, yeah. So I want to address this to start off. What exactly is this talking stage in modern dating, and how does it differ from casual dating or a committed relationship?
I think that the talking stage is when, you don't have a label on things. You don't consider each other your boyfriend or girlfriend. You haven't outright asked or announced it to anybody. You're just casually seeing each other. I consider that just the talking stage, just getting to know each other.
Okay.
How does it differ from what?
So how does a normal talking stage differ from casual dating or a serious relationship?
So I feel like casual dating is honestly super similar to the talking stage. I kind of consider them the same thing. And like she said, a relationship is exclusive. You're only dating each other, boyfriend and girlfriend. The talking stage is what happens before that.
Hold on real quick. So to just elaborate more on that, during the talking stage, is it cool to talk to other people and still test your options?
Yeah, 100%. You're not exclusive. So.
You're not committed.
Yeah.
100%.
All right.
I mean, I agree with the same thing. If you don't say, you're my girl, or it's known or made official, then I'm not your girl. And so that's just getting to know each other and deciding if you're ready to make that next step to, be committed.
Do you think that, certain behaviors before you actually get into a relationship is going to take effect whether you get into that relationship?
No, I think that you're basically single. You're talking to somebody, but it's not, like they said, exclusive. And so you're free to be yourself or do what you want, go out, whatever, until you make that decision to be committed. And then there comes the girlfriend-boyfriend rules, what you guys allow each other to do.
So pretty much up until it's official, you can talk to people and do your thing.
Yeah. Because I'm not your girl if you're going to go out. Because no matter what, people are going to keep their options open. And the talking stage is deciding if I like you or not. If I'm willing to, actually be your girl, meet your friends, go out with you, And so until that happens, I don't know. I don't feel like you're committed.
What's your take on that?
I understand it. I think that basically in today's world, I think it's just kind of a reality that most people are talking to multiple people at once. So at a certain point, I just think it's a bit of a disadvantage for a man or a woman to only talk to one person during the talking stage, if you want to look at it that way, while this other person is pursuing different options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like during the talking stage, like they said, it's just kind of, you're open to do what you want during that talking stage because you're not fully committed. You're not with somebody, and there's not that loyalty, that base of no, you're mine, and
Lean in a little bit more.
Yeah, I just basically feel if you're talking to somebody, it's you're single. Obviously, there's there lies some type of loyalty. You guys both know there's some type of feelings involved. That's more than you guys are going forward into that. But other than that, it's you're single.
What about the dating stage? So I'm hearing a lot about the talking stage.
I feel the dating stage, when you guys both officially agree that you guys like each other in that aspect and you guys want to be together and you guys are locked in, then obviously there's that loyalty lies there. So
Okay.
yeah.
So during the talking stage, it's okay to keep your options open. And then
Yeah,
during
of
the dating
course.
stage,
Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
All right.
And I feel like it's vice versa though. Like
It goes both
as
ways.
yeah, like I feel like as much as a female has their options open, like the guy should have their options open too.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Definitely agree with that.
But actually, yeah. Ask the next question. We'll start with you.
Yeah. So
Let's keep going back and forth.
just kind of based off that, how long do you think the dating stage should typically last?
The dating
The
stage?
dating
Or
stage?
my apologies. The talking stage.
I was like, what?
I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
No.
I'm gonna as long as you guys like each other.
Yeah. How long should the talking stage last typically?
I think a talking stage should last between maybe a couple months, just because like it's like that first month, it's kind of like a getting to know each other. Like, what is that like?
The surface level
Fairy
stuff.
tale, like
Ugh.
I don't know.
That's a guard, man.
And then into the couple months, I feel is when you actually realize like, do I want to be with this person? Like, do I actually like them? And like, I think it's like a couple months.
Okay, so I disagree. I think that a man and a woman both know, like, if we're talking, like, it depends on how many months you're talking, but, like, if we're talking for a month, I think I know, like, if you're ready to move forward and make me your girl and you're my man. And the longer it takes, the more you're just having opportunities to talk to other people, still live that single life, but we're still, like, together or, like, talking, And so unless, like, that's the vibe y'all are going for, that's not me. Like, I know what I want, you know what you want, and if it takes more than, like, a certain amount of time, like, you're not that interested and I'm not that interested, and so we move to the next.
You said a month?
Well, I mean, a couple, like, depends on, like, if you knew each other before you guys started talking or if it's just a brand new thing, but I don't think it should take longer than 2 months because I think by 2 months you guys are talking practically every day. You've gone on multiple dates. You know their vibe. You know the type of person they are, their morals, what they have in life, and then if it takes longer than that, then
It just ain't it.
yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I honestly agree with what Riley was saying too. Especially like, I just agree. Like, I think both people know like early on if they want to like invest their time with them and be exclusive with them. And I think if it goes past like a couple months, like people are just kind of wasting each other's time. They already know like whether or not they want to be with them or not. So I just agree with what she was saying.
Yeah, I see that. I feel like a lot of people just keep continue on with it until they find a better option. So
Yeah.
but they're still
Yeah.
getting benefits from that other one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're their backup
exactly.
until they find their main girl, and then
Exactly.
or main
So it's
guy.
a backup quarterback, bro.
So, I mean, I agree with the fact that you're saying that you don't think it should take that long. I don't think it should take longer than about a month to actually really get to know somebody. If you're looking at somebody and you're trying to get to know them and you're interested, if you're asking the right questions and they're answering you, I mean, at least you know the feelings are somewhat mutual. But I mean, if it's longer than a month and you don't want me to meet people or want to bring me around, you're wasting my time and I'm wasting yours. So
All right. So I was actually seeing this thing earlier today on Instagram. It was like when guys get too clingy. So have you I'm sure you guys have been in talking stages or these dating stages where a dude just got a bit too clingy too soon. So when is too soon and what is too clingy for those of you that still be doing that shit?
I mean, it's been a long time for me to be talking to anybody, but I mean, I think I don't know if it's too clingy. I would call it more of a territorial thing. You don't want to label me your girl, but you want to put restrictions on me. You want to be bothering my ass all day. I don't know. I don't think that's right. Why do I have to answer you if you're not reaching out to me?
That's facts.
What do you mean by clingy? Do you just mean touchy, or do you mean
kind of just up
controlling?
your ass.
Or like how she was saying, if you ask the right questions, right? But nowadays, I get I've heard a lot of guys ask questions within the first month of talking, and sometimes the girls will be like, "You're already catching feelings. This isn't that." You know what I mean? So it's
I think that depends on the girl, though. If the girl is willing to lead you on in that way, or she wants to keep you at a distance, you're not going to be her main man, and so she's keeping you around, just like we just talked about, until whatever. But like that. No, go ahead. I mean, I agree with that, but that didn't really have to go with the question, you know? Like, that was more just saying, like, she's just keeping you around until she finds her man, you know?
So the question, can you repeat the question?
I was just wondering, like when dudes, like, if you're, like, just in that, like, talking stage or dating, like, early, like, dating stages, and they're just kind of, like, on your ass about shit. They're just, you don't text back, like, within a certain amount of time, they blowing you up, like, you know, they're over here, like, assuming that you're, like, doing other shit when you're not, like, just shit like that. Like, up your ass about shit.
Turn off.
Like, how would that make me feel?
Yeah, like, how,
Yeah.
like, I mean, like, I mean, I guess, but the question was more, like, when that, like, fuck, I don't even know. Like, pretty much, like, when dude, like, how soon is it when a dude gets too clingy like that? Like, if he, like, is getting territorial, right? When is it appropriate for him to get territorial? We'll put it that way.
I honestly think it's when you guys become official. I think if it's any time during the talking stage, that's a huge turn off. So I think it's appropriate when you guys are, like, actually each other's boyfriend and girlfriend. And even then, like, not right at the beginning. Like, I think that's something that kind of comes over time. But if it's right at the beginning, that's kind of, it still would turn me off, you know?
All right. You got...
I mean, I feel like it also just comes down to, like, a mutual respect thing. Like, you know, it depends on how much respect, how long have we been talking, you know? I mean, if it's, like, 2 weeks in, it's like, ew, you know, you're not my man. Why are you asking me where I'm at, who I'm with? Like, it's not any of your fucking concern, you know? But, I mean, to me, it's like if you're 2 months into your talking stage, I mean, if you've been talking that long to me, if you're not wasting each other's time, you should have some level of mutual respect as far as, you know, answering each other, being like, this is where I'm kind of headed, these are, you know, who I'm with. Like, not that they should be telling you what you can and can't do, but, you know.
Yeah. All right, yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so you guys are saying a month of talking is when you can get to know someone. Is that what we're all agreeing on? So what are some important topics that should be, like, addressed within this talking stage in order to get to that compatibility, to be in a relationship? You know what I mean?
I mean, I get down to, like, the real nitty-gritty of it. I'm like, how much money do you make? Where do you live? Who are you living with? Like...
All right, so, like, how
mean,
much would this individual need to make?
I mean, personally, as long as you have a job and you're going to work, and, I mean, as long as I'm not outworking you, I think, you know, I should be all right. As long as you want to get up and work hard every day, it doesn't matter how much money you make hourly, as long as you're working hard towards something, you know?
I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, that's a respectable answer.
I think it's also, like, I think the main thing that I really want to get to know about a person is, like, their plans for their future and, like, their goals, and just, like, so, like, kind of, like, learning if our futures would even align and if we have, like, the same, like, goals for the future. I keep saying future.
Yeah, future's important. Future's important for
No,
sure.
yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me. And, like, also, I think it's really big to, like, see how their relationships are with other people, like, with their parents, with their friends, because, like, you're also going to be in a relationship with them, so it's good to, like, note how they treat other people and their relationships with others, too.
100%.
I agree with that. Like, I want to know, like, your plans for the future. Like, for me personally, I wanted to settle down and be a young mom. I didn't want to be an old mom, you know? And so, like, an important question for me is, like, do you see yourself going out and partying in your 20s and living it up? Or do you see yourself as finding the girl that you want, you know, and then getting married and having kids? Because that was my main goal. And so if it doesn't match, I'm not having a kid at 35. I'm sorry. I'm getting that done and over with. And then, you know, and so that was my big question. But that was personal.
Yeah, I feel like I agree. Like, just really, like, what are your ambitions and your goals, like, for your future, and yeah, like, just your ambitions and your goals, how you are with your family. Because, like, personally, I'm very family oriented, so, like, that does say a lot within a guy and, like, how he is or whatever.
And morals.
Yeah,
like what
morals,
you're like what like do you think that robbing somebody and getting that 100,000 is worth it, or do you think that working your ass off to get that 100,000 is worth it? You know, because that's two different type of people, and that's how you're going to live your life. Because if you get caught, you're going to prison and you're a deadbeat. You know, and so I don't know.
Get rich or die trying, 50 Cent. No, I'm just playing. But I agree with that. Yeah, your career choice is definitely important. Oh, shit, fuck, I had a question on that, but I forgot.
Future definitely means a lot. So, all four of you said future. Is that all that matters?
Like, okay, does like his like past like with his exes matter? Start here.
It depends in like what way. If we're talking about like, I think the reason why him and his ex ended does matter in a way. Like, let's say he cheated on her, like that 100% matters because you know what they say about cheaters. So I think it just depends on the main thing that you should be looking at is like why it ended and also kind of like what he learned from that because everyone learns something from every relationship. So I think that's also huge too is like asking him, you know, like what did you take out of that relationship and like what do you want to do differently in our relationship, like stuff like that.
Will you repeat the question?
So,
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I was like, does his like past like relationships like the way he behaved in them or how they like how she said how it ended, does that matter?
I think in a way it matters, but I do think that people learn their lessons, you know, like from past relationships. Like they may look back on it and be like, damn, I really, you know, messed shit up with that girl. So, I mean, they could, it depends on how they portray it to you, I guess. I mean, it depends on what kind of standpoint. If they're like, you know, she was crazy, you know, I had to just, you know, leave her and cheat on her. But it's like, no, she was good to me, you know, with things just ended up not working out. Like I ended up stepping out on her. You know, if it's it depends on how he's portraying it to you and, you know, I mean, what he's saying about it. I mean, yes, you have to take into consideration that he has cheated before, but at the same time, it's like people change and they learn, but you have to be willing to, I guess, get to know that person well enough on whether you would like to take that chance with them or not.
And I agree with what they said. I think that if you're friends, like it depends on like the relationship that you have with your ex, but I don't really think there should be a relationship with your ex because if you're friends before the relationship ended for a reason, and I don't see you guys like being buddies again. Like no, maybe fuck buddies, but not buddies. And then and I agree, like people do grow and change, but you also have to take into account that at the beginning of the relationship, people lie. People say they are somebody they're not. This is a chance to recreate themselves for you or your ideal image. And so you have to take into account that a few months down the line, he is going to change or she is going to change, you know, and they're going to get comfortable because people get comfortable. And then they're not the person that you originally thought they were.
I mean, shit, we talked about this in like some old videos. It's like dudes have issues getting comfortable in a relationship, and like that's the cause of like what ends it a lot of times. They don't have that grind to them like they did towards the beginning.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And I think that's where I was kind of coming from, where I meant like a few months with the talking stage, because in the beginning, it's like there's a lot of that fake image. And so like once you get deeper into like that second and third month, it's like, okay, this is where you're going to really get comfortable and like they're going to really be expressing like who they truly are in a way. What was the actual question though?
No, I think she answered it, right?
Yeah, I think you did too.
Yeah, you answered
Oh,
it.
okay.
Want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
We'll start with you.
So what do you think are some important topics or conversations that should be had in the talking stage to establish that compatibility that we were talking about?
I feel like really just like main topics are like, again, your ambitions, your goals for your future. Like, I feel like a big thing now in the reality is like kids. Like, you know, like if you don't have kids, do you want kids? If you have kids, like, are you gonna step up for my kid?
So, quick question: who here has a kid? I know.
Just right there.
So I want to specify with that. So with you having that kid, like, how do you take that approach? Like,
I think you can tell a lot by a man if he gets with a woman that already has a kid and he doesn't have a kid, because I think if he's willing to step up for that kid, that shows his character and like his morals and his values. But a lot of men, like from what I've seen, they like single moms, especially hot, pretty single moms, because they're arm candy. You know, I'm gonna bring you to my Christmas parties, I'm gonna take you out, whatever, show you off to my friends. But that's like as far as it goes. Like, I don't want to meet your kid, or I don't want to take care of your kid. And so then I think you have to know that person and then trust them, realize what their morals and values are, and then take the next step to meet your kid or to bring your kid into that relationship. Because you also don't want your kid, like, meeting a lot of guys, you know, or, like, thinking,
Yeah,
you know, like,
100%, yeah.
and so it's kind of like you need to be careful about the men or women that you do bring around your child, because that's how they're going to grow up thinking relationships are, or how people are, so.
Yes. All right, and like just to specify more, how long would you bake somebody with?
I don't know. Like, I think that it depends. Like, if I knew you before the relationship, you know, like if we were friends, I think it'd be sooner. But I don't know that I'd have a real time, because it just takes me to get to know you, and really once you get comfortable, so I can see the real you, and then that would be my point of being like, okay, now 6 months, you know, or now, you know, like 3 months or whatever, you know. But if I didn't know you as a brand new relationship, didn't know you before the relationship, then I would probably wait longer, because I don't know your friends, I don't know your exes, I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Do you remember the question?
I don't have a kid.
No, I know that, but there was
I'm like,
So, regardless, what do you think are some important topics or conversations that people should have in the talking stage so that they can establish whether or not they're compatible with each other?
like, other than like what we said about like the future and
Yeah.
talking about that,
dig a little deeper to it.
important conversations to have. Let me think. Hold on. Let me think.
No, you're good. The reason we ask is because like a lot of people nowadays just get into it in like relationships just to do it. Like,
They don't want to be lonely.
yeah, exactly. So
Scared to be lonely.
there's benefits that come from it too, depending on the individual, I guess.
I mean, I guess like another important topic would be like to talk about whether you're religious or not. Like, I think a lot of people are super religious, and that is a really big part of their life. So that's like another big conversation that you might want to have before getting into a relationship.
So who here is religious from this side? Okay.
Don't look at me like that.
No. She went like that. Damn. Oof. Wait, so you, and then you're kind of?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So I grew up, like, my mom is super, like, religious, like, Christian. So I kind of grew up, like, we would go to church every Sunday and stuff. And obviously, like, I stayed with her for, like, a few months, too. And I would go to church with her every Sunday. So, like, I grew up, like, in, like, church. But I think, like, it was just one of those things where it's, like, it was just so, like, forced upon me, like, by, like, my parents and everything. And, you know, like, when you're younger, like, when your parents kind of, like, force something on you so strong, you kind of, like, you know, it kind of makes you, like, want to take a step back from that. Yeah. So I guess I just say kind of because I'm not super strong religious, but, like, I do want to be more. It's just, like, something that I think I need to do on my own instead of, like, being forced into it, you know? So, like, I'm working on that, like, on my own. It's just not, like, fully, like, oh, my gosh, yes, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will add to that, like, personally, I'm religious, and if you get with a man that is not religious, his values or, like, what's important to him aren't going to match with what's important to you. You know, like, I go to church every Sunday. You know, my son, you know, is involved in that, you know, and so if you're not willing to go to church with me or at least make that effort, or, you know, like, it would be cut off because, like, I made every boyfriend that I had go to church with me, you know, like, and if you didn't want to go to church, you didn't have to, you know, but I think that's where the relationship would end because that's something that is important to me or of value to me, and so that's my outlook on it.
All right. As far as the important topics, you know, inside the future and stuff, and then you can also give your opinion on the religious stuff too.
I mean, about religion, I am, like, considered a member of the Catholic Church. I mean, my name is Trinity, you know. I did my communion, confirmation. I was involved in it my whole life, but I don't consider myself religious now. I've never really had that come up in a relationship, but I haven't been in many, so.
So if it were to, like, if the person you were with was religious, would that take effect?
Probably. I think it would.
All right, fair enough. So
It depends on the religion, too.
Okay. So then what religions would you be cool with?
I mean, growing up being Catholic, I mean, Christianity, Catholicism, you know, like that kind of stuff is pretty normal to me. It's not something I would be opposed to doing if I was super into somebody, but it's not something that I'm into.
Right.
So, but as far as important topics go, I mean, I get, you know, like I said, it kind of goes back to the length of the talking stage, because if you're just talking to somebody, like, yeah, you're trying to get to know them, but you're not seeing each other all the time. And I mean, if you want to really get to know somebody, you kind of have to start to date them. You know, you kind of have to be more exclusive. If you're going out with each other's friends, if you're meeting family members, if you're doing that kind of stuff, like, you are a little bit more exclusive. So, I mean, that's when I consider it a little bit better of a time to actually get to know somebody, is when they actually bring you around more, when they want to be around you more. Because then you get to see the real them. And I think that's a big part of it. Personality is a big part of it. Their reaction to your actions, you know, I mean, everybody does things differently, so you both are going to move differently. It's like how you respond to each other. I mean, when you talk, especially. But, I mean, I think kids is an important topic. If you don't want kids, like, let's really not waste each other's time, you know, if one doesn't and one does. But I think kids is important. Money is important. Living situation is important. Your job is important. Your priorities. What are your priorities in life? Where do you want to go? Like, where do you see us going together? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like I totally agree with everything she said. Just like, not only just your future, but yeah, I feel like I just agree with everything.
Kids definitely is a big one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely think kids is a big
Okay, so like we'll go with that then. So like, you already have a kid, but does everyone here want a family? Like, do you want a family? Do you want kids?
I do want a kid, 2 kids. I think my thing with that is just like the world is so ugly now. It's like I kind of debate, like, do I want to bring a precious little baby into like this ugly world? And like, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's always a blessing. Like, a baby is never, you know, it's always a blessing. But there's just like, it's up and downs to like, you know, not just having a kid, but just like bringing somebody into a world that's like so evil and so ugly. And I think that's really just where like I lie. But I do like, that's, you know, going through pregnancy, having a kid, like, it's always a beautiful like experience.
So I do have one thing to say with the whole, like, you know, the world is a bad place. It's like, it's always been like that. There's always been something going on. So it's nothing new. Like, that's what it's like, yeah, we got the internet and stuff, but like, I mean, shit, we had the plague. Like, we don't have slavery. We don't have racism. We don't have wars, and people still having kids.
But I think the values of the household has changed. So back in the day or whatever, there was a mom and there's a dad, you know, but I think throughout time that, you know, there's single moms now, there's single dads now, you know, the child is not being raised with a mother or a father in the house, and so the school is raising them, daycare is raising them, their friends are raising them. They're not getting their values from people who love and care for them. They're getting their values from their peers and people that either want to push a positive agenda or a negative agenda, you know, but I think that parents also, with inflation and everything, parents are having to be out of the house. Both parents have to work, and so you have these latchkey kids that are running around the neighborhood or have a babysitter or just not being cared for the way that they were before, you know? So I disagree with that point.
All right. That's interesting. You got it.
All right, well, like, it's okay. We disagree with the point that I just made?
Well, just that the world has always, like, I think
Yeah.
that the world has always been a bad place, but it's gotten worse.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, to like an extent,
there's
it
always
just
negative in everything. Like, there's always a negative, there's always evil in everything. But it's just like the world. Like, if you compare the world now to like back in the days when it was like in like the 50s or like even like, you know, the 70s and the 80s, like, it is completely different, and there's completely different morals, and just the generations even have like gotten worse too. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
All right,
So do you find that with that, people are looking more you think that that's raised people's standards because things have gotten worse to where the standard of living is like that? Do you think that that's raised most people's standards, men and women? Hold on, actually, let me rephrase that question. So it really just boils down to, in the modern world, do you think that people's expectations and standards have been raised so that they aren't closer to average?
No, I think that it's actually gone downhill because if you look at the percentage, like they've done studies on like the parents from 80s, 90s, 2000s compared to today's parents, which I guess our parents, or whatever. But like single moms has significantly raised, people in prison raised, the types of like, I feel like people just don't have the same morals or values, kind of go back to that last question, and so if you don't have those morals to like stick it through for your kid, like, no, I don't think any standards have raised. I think people have dropped, and that's why the world has gone down.
Don't you think those two like kind of intertwine? Because like now that you've seen so much, doesn't that raise your standards though?
Oh yeah, that definitely raises my standards and what I'm going to allow my son. But I know my morals and values versus I don't know somebody else's morals and values, But yeah.
Okay.
I agree. I feel like it definitely does raise my like values, but yeah, like she said, just
And not everybody is thinking the same thing. Like some people get accidentally pregnant, and they're not really in it. I think every mom loves her kid. Well, I actually think that some mothers and fathers don't have the same connection to their kid as other people do. And so now, honestly, the rise of single dads has gone up. Like there wasn't a single dad ever 30 years ago. It was always single moms. But now there's single dads, And so like I think moms have been dropping the ball. Same dads have been dropping the ball as far as like kids and raising the next generation.
Okay. I can respect that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with what she's saying.
See, I feel like the reason that's happening is because people's standards are getting higher. Like, think about it. Like, if like there's a lot of people that like have kids, like they have had families or whatever, but like I don't know. From my personal experiences, like I've seen some girls like with like a decent dude, and then they have a kid, and then she leaves like trying to get a better option.
No, and I agree, but I think that honestly, from what I've witnessed, I think it's the opposite. I think that I see a lot of moms that are lonely and hurting and need healing, and so they cling on to the first person that gives them that feeling of being wanted or needed and having help, because it's hard being, like having to be a single mom. And so they go back to these men who are robbing houses and stealing, and they're never going to be there for you. They're never going to be there for your kid. But the same thing for mom or dads, like I think, honestly, I feel like if you're a single dad, your standards have probably raised more than women. No offense to women, but I think that women, their brains are much different, and so they're looking for love, and they're more willing to sacrifice their morals and values to find that love, where I think as a man, like, I think men know what they want. They have it in their head, and I think that they can be deadbeats, but they're only going to go lower for a quick fuck. Like, they're not going to go lower to marry her, and so that's my personal opinion on that.
Trinity's cooking up something in her head.
I mean, personally, my standards are pretty high. I mean, I work very hard. I don't have any kids. I would never want to have a kid with somebody that I wasn't 100% serious with. I mean, my standards are definitely raised, especially with how the world is today. I mean, we want to talk about what an ugly place it is. That just goes to, I think it brings in a lot of other moral factors of life, like, I mean, what are your religious views? What are your household views? What are your relationship views? Are you like a dom and sub relationship? Are you looking for like the man to provide? Are you wanting to be a stay-at-home mom? Just those kind of things are like, I think, bigger factors in it for me. So, I mean, if a guy had a kid, I probably would not date him.
So you're saying that standards have risen?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, at least mine.
Okay. You guys think standards have risen, right?
Wait, what?
You guys think standards have risen?
Yeah,
I
do.
definitely think so. I definitely see Riley's point. I do think that there are people who have lowered their standards, or they might be vulnerable in certain ways that end up being taken advantage of. But I definitely think it's a smaller portion of the population versus I think the majority who have higher standards.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I feel like it's easier to find the people that have the lower standards.
I think it has
to
to do with poverty. I think that the poverty level, the lower the poverty level, the more people are willing to compromise. Whereas if you get higher in poverty, you know your standards, you know your worth, or whatever. But women that have been raised by toxic families, toxic men, or even men that have been raised by toxic families, toxic men, you know, it's poverty level, you know. And so the richer you are, the higher standards you have, but the poorer you are, the lower standards you have. And I agree with you in a sense that, like, if you have the money to do that or the support and the village to take that on, then I agree with you. But if you don't, then I don't think that. I think it just depends on where you stand on the poverty line.
And I haven't heard that before. I actually, like, agree with that.
I think that's a really good argument, actually.
Yeah, it really is. I haven't heard that shit.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, it really does, though, because, like once you, like, are down to, like, so low, it's like you kind of have to find somebody to just, like, work with. Like,
Your options aren't as wide. You have
Yeah.
wider options as far as people that'll keep you company, but not wider options of people that are going to marry you or make you stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, so, yeah.
Yeah, the ratio is definitely different at the bottom.
yeah. You got anything to add?
But it's like, I don't know, the people with less standards are going to be easier to find, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to be more outgoing than people with higher standards. And especially with media today, like, that's how it's so easy to find these people with low standards, because they just don't care. They put themselves out there 25/8. Like, you know what I mean? They take any option they can get. I think the people, like, that have no standards at all has risen a lot. So,
Like, what are you willing to compromise to fulfill that empty feeling of whatever you're feeling? Doesn't matter if it's love, loneliness, whatever, but what are you willing to sacrifice to fulfill that? But that'll never fulfill. You need healing, and you need, my personal opinion, you need God, you know, but I know that not everybody agrees with that, but you need something else to fill that void instead of another man or another woman, you know?
Just find, like, a healthy habit. Like, yeah.
Set healthy boundaries,
For sure.
you know your worth, build yourself up.
yes.
I agree with that. But, okay, so with that being said, with the standard stuff, you know, some of us agreeing with it, some of us not, but do you think social media has, like, taken a big effect in that, especially, like, in relationships? Like, so we'll start over here.
I definitely feel like social media plays a lot and a big part of people's standards, just because, like you said, like, if you're around, like, the lower poverty, that's what you have on social media. And it's like, you could follow that, but I don't know. I do think it plays a big part in even just, like, in multiple aspects.
Yeah, I think social media makes it easier to access certain people. And so, like, if you have somebody, you know, like, if you're, exactly like she said, I think, but if you're looking for, like, a relationship, you know, like, people hit you up, you know, but it's not as serious. Whereas when you talk in person, you're face to face with that person. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be harder to lie to you while I'm looking at you in your eye, you know, whereas online and social media, I can take a picture and pose in a certain way to make my body look better, you know, or catfishing, you know, and so then you meet somebody and you find out that what you've been talking to for the last month, either they don't look like it or they're not really that person or whatever. And so it's easier to fake who you are as a person and what you believe in, what your morals are, you know, and there's more options, but at the same time, like, it's not always better options, you know, like.
Yes.
I agree with that.
100%.
So you're asking, like, how does social media affect people's, like, expectations?
Yeah, expectations, or even people in relationship, like, yeah.
How does it just affect the dating life?
Yeah.
How does social media? I mean, like, this is kind of different, like, a different topic than what she was saying, but I think social media, like, we all hear about how, like, social media, like, destroys relationships and stuff, like, people being disrespectful on social media. Like, I mean, I more hear of men being disrespectful on social media, like, liking other girls. Not to throw shade, like, not like, but just, like, you do hear about guys just being disrespectful towards their girl on social media, and I feel like people just say like it's not that serious, like it's just social media, but at the end of the day, like social media is a really big part of like our generation nowadays. So it's not just social media, like that's how you present yourself to the world, you know?
Yeah, and it opens up more opportunities to cheat or to be unfaithful, or you see somebody and you're with this gorgeous girl, you know, but you're like, well, you know, and so your wheels are turning in your head, like what I could have versus what I do have. Whereas if social media wasn't a thing, you look at what you do have and you don't have as many options on social media. You don't have like the constant posts, you know, whereas in person, you're going to work and home to your wife or your girlfriend or hanging out with your girlfriend, and then you have your friends and they might bring a girl around, but just the opportunity to cheat and be loyal and faithful is way bigger on both men and women, you know, like.
Yeah.
I mean, considering I'm married, I mean, I would say I wouldn't say it's just social media. I would say it's the internet in general. I think the internet in general does affect relationships in a negative way. I think it is bound to happen in every relationship unless, you know, you're willing to be a super, super open person, which many people of our age and like of our generation that are trying to date each other aren't willing to do. You know, a lot of people aren't willing to be like, hey, you know, you can go through my phone, you can have my passwords. You know, a lot of people aren't willing to do that kind of shit. Yep. So it's like, it comes down to respect.
All right. I agree with that.
How much are you willing to respect your partner in general?
I also think that another part of it is like when we, like the type of songs that we listen to, like definitely can affect your relationship too, because you're listening to like these rap songs, like these guys rapping about girls and drugs and like all of that. Like I think that when you're like singing those lyrics every day and you're like,
No, you're speaking it into existence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nah.
No, literally, it's the same thing. You are who you surround yourself with. So why is it different from music? Why is like the people that you surround yourself with different than what you're listening to in your ear 24/7 and hyping yourself up, you know, like fucking bitches getting money, you know, like big booty girls, you know, and then you look at your girl.
Like, okay, I'll put it this way. Like, I listen to King Von, Lil Durk, like all that.
So you're one of them?
No, hold on. Not even like that. But they talk about like killing people. I don't kill no. I don't do that
but
shit.
listen,
It's just
if
like,
you,
you know?
if you were going to fight somebody and you needed to get pumped up and you needed that adrenaline rush and you're like, I need
David
you know,
Goggins video.
I don't know that, but you know my point. You're gonna listen to music.
Stay hard.
Music has an effect on what you think, how you feel, and it literally, like they've done studies, it changes your mind. It changes like your adrenaline.
It does for the average individual. I'm a different specimen. So like due to my personal experiences and where I'm from and where I was born and like raised for a little bit down in Brazil, like I listen to that music. It's like I relate to it to a point.
You're catching a vibe.
But it's not even catching a vibe. It's more like a peace of mind. You know what I'm saying? Because like I'm not listening to that shit. It's not making me like amped up. It's more like, damn, you know?
Well,
like,
Cesare, I actually agree with Riley here. And you just said, yeah, for most people, but I'm a different specimen. So do you think that music does influence the average person like that?
Yes, the average individual, yes, for sure. Like a lot of people will listen to like a lot of these like trap music and like drill artists, and then like next thing you know, they're over here sagging their pants, like throwing up the gangs.
They're
like,
trying to be somebody.
Exactly.
They're trying to be somebody they're not.
Yeah.
But if that music wasn't in their life, would they be sagging their pants and selling drugs? No. You know, like.
Well,
yes.
But it's also who you surround yourself
they
with.
Would. I think there's more ties into just music into a lifestyle. They would have found something else to lead them into it. And I think there's also levels to this. I think that people, if you were to study it, if you listen to like a more melodic beat, it's going to make you soothing and stuff. Whether if you were listening to heavy metal, it's going to be a little bit drastically different. So I think it's just like coming from a personal experience, going to raves and stuff. Like there's people that go for the music. There's people that just go for the show. There's people that just go for the mosh pitch because they like to, get crazy. So I don't know. There's levels to it.
But that's exactly it. You go for a reason. You listen to it for a reason. You're there for a reason. You're not just there to
but me listening
chill.
to Key Glock is not going to make me cheat on my wife.
But for the average individual, they could be listening to these people.
The average individual is not going to cheat on his wife because Key Glock said so.
But I think that they live up to that lifestyle. And so, no, they might not cheat on
I
their
feel
wife.
like that is more of like these types of effects are more like high school, like middle school kids, like throughout high school. Like I feel like an adult man that's getting affected by music like that, like you guys, like that's just. I personally haven't seen
You're
that.
too influential.
Yeah, you're way too
you get influenced.
Maybe so, but it's the same thing. Like you're filling your brain with that stuff. So no, you might not go cheat on your wife, but guess what? That's the things that you enjoy. You're gonna become more people you surround yourself with, the music that you listen to, just everything in general. Like you said, there's layers. It doesn't just start with music. But
It doesn't.
Hold on.
I disagree. I mean, I love music. I mean, I play instruments. I love music. I listen to all different kinds of music. I grew up listening to, 50 Cent. I grew up listening to a bunch of different rappers and stuff. Like, that's just what we grew up, and kind of just our era, like some of our generation just grew up listening to that kind of stuff. Yeah. I feel like I'm doing pretty good in life for my age. I own property. I make a decent amount of money for not having a degree, not going to school. I work hard. I get up every day, and I listen to some of the worst music. I mean, I listen to, everything from like heavy metal to like country. So, my variety is pretty wide, but I don't think that it should affect your day to day. And if it is, like, you got to get your mind somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I agree with what you're saying, like 100%. But I think like what me and Riley are trying to say more is that like it's not like, okay, you listen to King Von, you're going to go out and shoot someone. It's more just like a mindset that I think it is more influential for younger kids and like people growing up. But it's more that like you listen to like music like how King Von puts out, and it's almost like he makes it sound like it's cool to kill someone. And he's like hyping it up, like I listen to Von too, okay, like I do, like I swear. So, but it's just like, and not just him, but there's like a lot of rap, like they'll kind of like.
And this is
bragging
don't
about
shade
it.
on Von Dirt.
Yeah,
like,
no.
I love King Von, man.
No, I do too, like I
Please.
swear. But it's more just like, I think it's just like a mindset, and it kind of makes people think like, oh, that's kind of cool to do. It's not like they're going to go out there and kill someone.
Here's the thing. If we're talking rap and we're talking hip hop, that's not just music. Okay, that's a culture. That's the difference. And so when he's saying that he's relating to it, that's because he's hearing it differently than what you guys are hearing. Okay, he's hearing the whole story. Each song that 90% of these artists write, especially hood rappers, are writing stories that have actually happened. Mm-hmm. So when they're telling the story, that's the only way they're able to tell that story. So when you're actually listening to it, and you're that's not making you like want to relate to them, like necessarily go do the same thing so you can go write the same thing, or you know what I mean? It's just you hear his story and it's touching.
Yeah, and I can understand like for him, like he's grew up, like I get that that's a cultural thing and that he would be able to relate to it. But if you take someone that's like does not relate to it and they hear that, it's different for them. Like I think it's different for every person,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's levels. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's levels too.
Yeah.
There's a gray area for sure.
Yeah, there is.
And it's a bunch of things combined. Like it's not just the music. Like you said, it's you start at the bottom, you start listening to King Von, and then you meet some other people at his concert, and then you start getting in their group, and you start becoming like them, and so, but basically what she said, like it doesn't just start with the music, and I agree with you, Riley, that it's layers.
Yeah, there is layers, and I'm definitely not disagreeing that what you're saying is not possible, because I've definitely seen it happen, especially coming from where I grew up. So I've seen a lot of it's the phony outlook that's out there right now, and it's honestly pathetic and annoying, but because that's what the issue is being caused, So
And
it's okay. But go ahead. Okay. What I was gonna say is one of the main artists that started this entire thing was Eminem. When he started his way of rapping, right? Like that became one of the biggest controversial things ever. He was taken off MTV, but his whole thing was he was telling stories every single time, and you either related to it or you didn't, or you understood him or you didn't. It's like that's where the whole like you love him or you hate him type thing.
I definitely think it takes a certain kind of somebody, but if you, like he said, it starts in middle school, and so you're molded into the person that what you surround yourself with, you know? And
I
so,
mean, kinda. I started listening to Eminem when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
so you put a gerbil in your asshole?
I love that song.
Wait, which?
Oh yeah.
That was
Do you know what song we're talking about? Back?
I remember that song. That song
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, no, that one caught me
That was
off
an
guard, yeah.
awfully hot copy file.
All right. Well, okay. So we got a little bit off topic, but so we were talking about social media, and we talked about your guys' standards and all that good stuff, right? But so let's say you meet this guy that meets all these requirements, you know, all these standards, right? But he fucks around one time. Like, I mean, like he cheats. Like one time.
No.
He's everything you wanted.
He's
everything.
proven. He's proven
Everything.
himself.
He's everything you wanted.
Nope.
Because of one mistake.
Yeah. It's not a
Because
mistake.
that one thing,
Okay.
yeah, if there's not like a mistake. That one thing proves literally everything as to
His respect for
yeah,
you.
his respect, the loyalty, the just everything. That one fuck up kind of ruins everything. Then it creates trust issues, and then it just creates a lot of underlying issues that like didn't necessarily need to be there and weren't there in the beginning. So like that one fuck up, no.
Yeah, and you give a man, or well, man
Wait,
or,
what you mean? You said that won't fuck up? No, like that's it? It's over with? Oh, okay.
yeah, and that man or woman, whoever cheats, you know, like she said, once a cheater, always a cheater. So even though they might come back and they're like, I'm really sorry, please forgive me, and they do everything that you need them to do, and you forgive them, but now you don't trust them to go out. You don't trust their friends. You don't trust anything, you know? So now you're a crazy bitch, you know, and you're controlling him, and you need all his passwords and whatever, right? So back to the relationship thing, he says that she was a crazy bitch, and that's why he left her. Well, did he tell you that 6 months earlier he cheated on her? You know, and so that's what made her crazy? Or was she a crazy bitch all along? And so, no, I agree. Like, once he cheats, he shows the respect for you, his morals, his values, and it's done.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, not only does it show, like, him, like, they're saying, like, it shows how he respects you, like, it shows all that, but, like, you also have to think about yourself. Like, I know me personally, like, I would never be able to forgive someone for that, and I would never be able to trust them again. And, like, they say, like, without a, like, if you don't have trust in a relationship, you really don't have anything, you know? Like, that's, like, trust is, like, one of the biggest things in a relationship. And I know, like, me personally, and I think that they agree that you just wouldn't be able to trust the man again, you know?
I feel like also like not only was that respect like ruined and like dismantled, but like also I feel like I would be disrespecting myself if I was to take that
Yeah.
back because that person disrespected me. Does that make sense?
And then he looks stupid. And so you're opening yourself up to, like, if you tell your friends, because a lot of girls tell their friends, you know, like, oh, he cheated on me. Then you get back with him and they're like, oh, now they don't like him. Now your friends are talking shit about him in your ear, you know, and now, you know, so then you degrade yourself. Like she said, you make yourself look so stupid.
What is cheating? Like, I mean, just fully sleeping
He
with
goes on,
somebody
yeah,
else.
he goes on like a boys' vacation, and then like he just slept with some random chick from the bar. Next day she was gone. Never heard of again.
I don't know. I guess it comes down to somebody's boundaries because, like, I mean, we go back to the social media thing. You know, I mean, some women will leave your man because you're looking at other women, commenting under the, you know, their photos, or, you know, you're looking up a bunch of porn instead of sleeping with me, you know, just that kind of shit. I mean, shit, I don't like to put up with any of it. So, like, I don't know. It depends on how many times you're willing to disrespect yourself. Are you willing to forgive this person? What have you guys built together? Because, I mean, you know, are you married? Do you have a house? Do you have kids? You know, I mean, there's a lot of different situations that you could be in. But, I mean, if we're just talking about, like, a dating situation and you went and slept with somebody else, no, I would not.
Like, no, more of a serious one. Like, this is, like I said, this is the
Like,
dude
you're
that
married.
He checks all the boxes. You're in it deep with this guy.
I mean, shit, man. People change. But at the same time, no, they don't. So it's, like I said, it's,
Let's help her out.
Here, okay, so first of all, do you guys think that a man cheating and a woman cheating is the same?
Okay, we're on the right track. Go to that. What, do you,
All right.
what makes it different?
Okay, so I'm going back to this, men think differently than women think. So a man, and they've done studies, and I can show you the studies, but a man will cheat to get his dick wet. A woman cheats because a man is not meeting her emotional needs. And so another man comes in and he's like, you're so beautiful, let me take you here, you know, like, and your man's saying, you nag me all the time, you don't let me go out with my boys. And she's like, dang, like, this guy is giving me attention, he really wants me, he really likes me. So she cheats out of lacking something out of the relationship, where 9 times out of 10, a man's just gonna get his dick wet. You know, like, he doesn't care about anything else. He doesn't love her. He doesn't want her. After he has sex with her, he's done. You know, and so he's going back to his girl that he loves.
I almost dropped the fucking tear, bro. God.
So that's how I view it. So no, men and women don't cheat the same. And a woman that says that she just cheated to have sex, she's a liar. Like, she is 100% lying.
Oh my gosh. This is really good. This is really good. Wow.
I completely agree. I feel like a female and a guy cheating are two completely different. It's completely different. But like that doesn't.
Like, it's still wrong either way. Like, a woman cheating or a guy cheating, like, we're not trying to justify anything. Like, it's still wrong. Like, no matter who's doing it.
I took the hype.
Yeah, cheating.
No, I'm just playing.
Cheating is still cheating.
Yeah.
But just for different reasons.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I agree with, like, your reasoning and stuff. Yeah, like 100% women are like needing something emotionally, but I mean, yeah, men cheating. I just think it's just an unforgivable act in general. But if you're in deep with somebody, I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
To make those decisions, you know.
Yeah. The thing is like, men are made to reproduce, right? So it's like, I'm Christian, so I'm not saying I'm trying to justify for this stuff, but it's the reality of it. It's like, we're here to reproduce. Like, you can have a girl that sleeps with like 10 dudes, like, you're not gonna know who the dad is. I can go sleep with 10 different chicks, get them all pregnant. I'm the dad. That's what we're meant to do. So when a guy goes and cheats, it doesn't mean he doesn't respect you. It doesn't mean he's not loyal to you. It really isn't. It doesn't come down to that. Like you said, it comes down to what you said. They're just trying to get their dick wet. Joe Rogan said it the best. He said, like, you get to a certain point of, like, horniness. Like, it's not even you thinking, it's just your dick. Now, hold on. You should have discipline, yes, and you should be aware of these things. But that action doesn't determine whether he, like, doesn't love you, doesn't respect you. Now, if he's over there, like, repeatedly doing this with the same chick, staying with her, buying her stuff, taking her out, that's a whole nother story.
Okay, I see what you're saying, but no. I think that if he cheated and if he was willing to do that, he knew what he had. He knew you were at home. He knew what you were doing, and he made the conscious decision. No matter if you're drunk, you remember having sex. No matter if you're high, you remember having sex. No matter if you're coke, whatever, you remember having sex. You made the conscious decision to be like, fuck my girlfriend, fuck my wife, and you slept with another woman. And so, no, I 100%, you don't respect me enough to not do it, because a man that respects and actually loves a woman, he would never do that to her because he knows what he has at home. So, yeah, this girl looks good. She's got a body. She's funny. She's pretty. But my girl's better. She's at home right now and she's making me dinner, or she's taking care of me, or she's loving me, and I'm not going to risk that relationship for some hoe at the bar.
I agree. But I want you to add on to this, because this is a very, like, I know that there's a lot of dudes, like, or at least other, like, channels that do similar stuff that what we're doing right now, and had this conversation been going, you already know how it would have been.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, we're trying to find a balance here. Like, I completely agree with what you're saying, but
Then you don't completely agree.
No. Like, I also feel like it comes down to, like, a religion thing. You feel me? Like, if you're a Christian person, right? Like me, I'm Christian. I still, like, I don't change my opinion. It doesn't change my opinion that if a dude cheats, like, oh, like, he doesn't love me. No, I don't think that. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go ahead and do it.
But if you're Christian, then you would know that in the Bible it says to wait until marriage to have sex, because that's when you become one, right? And so if you're out here and you cheat on your girl,
yeah, but I've already committed that sin. Like, it's like,
but then you're risking your religion, so you can't even bring religion into it because you don't believe that part of the Bible, right?
Wow, yeah, that's true. Like, my mom's always told me, you can't pick and choose what you want in the Bible. He's like, you either believe
there's no in between. Yeah. It's either up or down. Damn. Lukewarm or for God.
For the spot. Sneaker's gonna look at this and be like, damn, bro. But I don't. Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I feel like if I'm gonna look at it from my religious standpoint, yeah, cheating is cheating. Now, is it the same? No.
And in the Bible, it says that the only reason that you can get divorced is if your husband cheats on you. That's the only reason. Every other thing, doesn't matter if he's an alcoholic, doesn't matter if he's whatever, you need to stay married to him because you are devoted and it's a union. But if he cheats, that's God's way of saying you have an out. You know, like that is the only reason that you can leave a marriage once you are married in the Bible, if we're talking religiously. And so I think that it goes back to that topic, like, can't bring religion into it if you're going to do it anyway.
I don't know.
I guess from a secular perspective, I think that if a girl has that guy who ticks all those boxes and is what she wants, and for like this specific example, he goes out on that boys' trip and he makes a mistake and he slips up and he cheats and he comes back and he's honest about that, I don't really think it's a smarter move for a girl to go try to find a guy to replace him. I think it's usually going to be smarter to stay with him just because most cases he still loves you and it's going to be harder to replace him. However, I think that men should exercise a higher level of discipline and that they should have higher standards for themselves and that they should make mistakes like that. So like if a guy goes out on that boys' trip, he's going to control his alcohol intake and make sure that he's still of a sound mind and body.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that even if you don't believe in God or you're not religious or you're not Christian, I think the Bible has very good morals. And I think that, you don't believe in that, but the 10 Commandments, what is said is truth. That is being a good human, whether or not you believe in God or not. Like a good human doesn't go out and cheat on his wife. A good human doesn't kill somebody. A good human doesn't rob somebody. Like I think that creates bad humans. And so even if you don't believe in God and even if you aren't religious, I think it goes back to your morals and what you're willing to sacrifice to pleasure yourself or it's selfish, I think.
Look like trying to cook something up.
I mean, I agree. I think that it is selfish, but like going back to what he said, when you build something with somebody and depending on in what form of cheating you consider your boundary. I think that, like you guys said, it isn't always the same for men as it is for women. I do think men cheat more because, I don't really know, they're just horny. But, like, straight up.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Accurate.
But, I do agree with the self-discipline. Like, I would say forgiveness should be an option if a guy cheats. But if a girl cheats, I do agree it's way more emotional. Like, it means a lot more, especially to her probably, than it does to the guy that she's even sleeping with. So, I think forgiveness should be an option if you're in deep with somebody, though. If it's, like, right off the bat, no, cut him loose. But if you're like, almost a decade in, you guys share money, you share property, you share kids, you share, your families are invested, everything. You guys have your money invested in things together. It's just very hard to be able to rebuild that with somebody else, especially if you've been building it since you guys were kids.
I agree.
Yep.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah.
I will say that I'd rather have a man just want to get his dick wet and be done with her than to have an emotional connection with her, because then that means he's like, or like he's feeding into that person. Whereas like, if I had to choose, I wouldn't choose either. But if I had to make a choice, that would be my preference.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak on this because not all, but most, I'm going to say a guy's going to check out before that happens. Whether a girl is already mentally checked out before she actually checks out, you know what I mean? She's when she cheats, she's already checked out. A guy, if he does that, like, if it's serious, he's probably already gone.
But I feel like either way, hold yourself accountable for what you did and the actions that you chose to take.
Yeah. So, yeah, if, like Devin said, if that happens and he comes up and tells you without you having to go through all this crap to find out by yourself, that's where the line is drawn,
Yeah.
And I definitely think that you can make it up to somebody, like I think that it takes time to rebuild trust. But if you are really sorry, and you're really apologetic and you love this girl, then you would do whatever it takes to stay with her. You would do whatever it takes to maintain that relationship. You know, like you wouldn't just be like, I did it, sorry. You know, like move on.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't got nothing else to say like on that.
So I think that's a pretty good place to kind of wrap up the show.
Yeah.
So,
What we'll do is, if you guys want to, if you have like a business you want to shout out or whatever you're doing, or your Instagram, whatever, you can. So we'll start with, you're good? Yeah.
Honestly, same. I'm good too.
I'm Veda on all social media and VADA. So
I do aesthetics, so Aesthetics by Letty on Instagram. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's dope. And then, any update on the music?
Not since last time, but definitely keep staying tuned. That's coming out soon. You'll hear it in an intro soon.
Yeah, you will. And then we'll have another video coming out. Well, this video will be coming out, what, Sunday, Tuesday?
next week?
somewhere in that window.
Like this next
Tomorrow?
week. Potentially. Okay, there's a lot of editing. That's okay. All right, guys, we're going to end it over here. So thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Deuce out.
Run it. I can't take no loss.